It's after 7, so let's go ahead and get started with our meeting. Let's like to call our March meeting to order. And at this time, I'm going to call on Dennis Nelson here to recognize our Veteran of the Month, George Westbrook.
Well, it's good to see our first Veteran of the Month, Mr. Rogers, and our third Veteran of the Month, Mr. Prettyman, here to support your nomination. Mr. Westbrook, I think there's going to be something, and my wife looked at that picture and she said, wow.
Only 2 months ago.
Mr. Westbrook was born September 20th, 1946 in Mobile, Alabama. Bobby Benefield likes that back there. He's got his Alabama shirt. Joined the U.S. Navy Reserve while in senior year of high school, September of 1963. After graduation, he went active duty in the U.S. Navy in June of 1964. Attended basic training at Recruit Training Command, Great Lakes, Illinois. Attended Naval Submarine School, New London, Connecticut. Attended 48 weeks of various electronic schools. Almost a whole year of that. Wow.
More than that.
Duty stations, he served at the Naval Training Command, Great Lakes, Illinois, the Naval Submarine School, New London, Connecticut, Naval Operations Control Center, Norfolk, Virginia, and on the ships USS Shangri-La, out of Mayport, Florida, and the USS L.Y. Spear out of Norfolk, Virginia. And I was looking at that. I looked those up to see what you were working on. Spent approximately 5 years of sea duty, including a year in Vietnam in 1970. Spent 10 years active service, discharged May of 1974. Served another 12 years in active reserves, then transferred to the Fleet Reserve for an additional 8 years. He retired August 1985 as Senior Chief Petty Officer. He met his beautiful wife, Penny, while stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and were married in September of 1969. They're getting ready to celebrate their 54th anniversary. Wow. They have a son and daughter, 7 grandchildren, and now 1 great-grandson. Congratulations, Mr. Westbrook. I'm going to come around and present you with a coin, and if you can, we can stay up front for pictures with the council. We want to show you all. There you go. That is our coin that we serve to the Veterans of the Month. On the back side is the memorial that's right out here. And we honor and appreciate your service to the United States.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and I've got to back at you from the Georgia National Cemetery for the recognition that you folks have done for our veterans.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Wow. Are we coming down here? Our photographer, Karen, who's injured, doesn't matter. She's going to take a picture.
Kicking the dog.
Come on up here with us. Can y'all be in the same picture?
Georgia, get in the middle. All right, everybody look this way. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Ms. Westbrook, do you want to get up here? You want to come up here and get in a picture? No? Well, again, congratulations, Mr. Westbrook, and your name will be on the city council sign, and it's an honor.
Much appreciated.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Right, Lee. Lee, come up.
We did not get a picture with you last time. We'd like to do that. Of course, you've been in council pictures.
All right, everybody look this way. 1, 2, 3. All right.
No dancing this weekend.
I know, right?
At this point, let's stand for the pledge, and I'm going to ask George, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, I would just like to add, on there, George has been a phenomenal volunteer in the city and whatnot. But the one thing when I was typing this up stuck out to me, we forget the family sometimes. And to get married in 69 and send your husband to Vietnam in 70, so kudos to you.
We were married 3 years before we've been together as much as we were apart.
So,
Yeah,
good job to you.
Could I add one quick thing on behalf
Sure.
of the veterans? When I enlisted, there were 4 of us buddies in high school. We enlisted in the Navy together, sworn in together, went to boot camp together, volunteered for submarines, went to submarine school together. Michael Eugene Sims turned out to be extremely claustrophobic. So he was failed out of sub school. But the Navy doesn't punish you. They offer you any ship, school, or duty station you want. He decided he wanted to be a corpsman in the Army for medic. He went to Great Lakes to corpsman school. He was sent to Vietnam, was killed the second week he arrived, ambushed with Marine detail. And he didn't have half of what we have in this room tonight. He had nothing. That's who we should be respecting. Thank you.
My son
Thank
was a U.S. Marine, and the corpsman was their best friend. And his corpsman actually was killed after he got out in a car crash, but he said as a Marine, you had to have the corpsman with you, and he was a Marine.
Yeah, the family was told that he was targeted. He was one of the first ones taken out.
Yep.
The foreman wear a fanny pack, and the enemy can identify who the foreman is by that fanny pack of medical supplies they carry. They take the foreman out, and that demoralizes the rest of the patrol.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, let's move forward on our agenda by approving the agenda first. No changes to the agenda.
The one item, remove item 8F, the resolution in opposition to Senate Bill 188 that did not survive crossover.
Gone, but it's not forgotten.
No.
We'll be talking about it next year.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented with that change?
So moved.
Okay, Dennis,
Second.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move forward now. Do we have anybody wanting to address the council?
I would like to.
Sure. Welcome.
Hi.
Aye.
Can I pick it up or do I have to just talk like this?
Just
Like this? Okay. Good evening. My name is Callie Hoffman. I am a new resident at the Lantern Walk community, proud resident. I am a first responder. I am the wife of a combat Marine veteran, and I am the mother, hoorah, and I am the mother of a student at Ball Ground Elementary. I am just addressing you all today to bring up the concern that I have, that has been brought up before, the Ball Ground Highway and Lantern Walk Road, the intersection. As you can imagine, am intimately familiar with the dangers of intersections such as this that does not have traffic control. Be that a crosswalk with some lights, a stop sign with some lights, or something of that nature. I am sincerely urging you to reopen this matter before something happens, not after, because I understand that we have new residences being open. The townhomes are being heavily advertised right now. We're only going to have an increase of traffic and hopefully property value, which is why we moved here. But we would like to have some sort of traffic control in that intersection, so I'm really hoping that you would reopen that discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. We actually are on board to try to improve that, but unfortunately, our Department of Transportation, GDOT, is a little more difficult to work with, but we've actually addressed some of the people in the legislature about trying to get that a crossing there at that intersection. So I mean, you agree, it's a very important thing to me. And but I'm frustrated with the state Department of Transportation, but we're going to still continue to try to get that done. Because part of our master plan is we're pedestrian. We connect, and this is a big neighborhood now that is limited with the connection to the rest of the core city. So appreciate your comments. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to address the council? Okay, Eric?
Just an announcement reminder that April 8th will be the Barbecue and Brews Festival downtown. It's one of only 2 days that there is open container in the downtown area. Just a reminder on that. April 29th, we're really looking forward to Georgia Swarm. Be bringing in the Eastern Band of Cherokee to do the native stickball demonstration and tournament on the multi-purpose field at Calvin Farmer Park. So professional lacrosse is picking up in Georgia across the country, but the commissioner for professional lacrosse will be here at the events that day. And looks like possibly some folks from Channel 46, and they're continuing to reach out to other media markets, so could be a big day. Also, May 13th for the plant sale that the Garden Club does here on the grounds of City Hall.
And you'll also have the Choctaw Indians?
No, sir, they withdrew.
Okay,
So the Eastern Band of Cherokee will be the only representation.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
You might mention Georgia Cities Week, our event we're having.
I
Karen?
missed that. Which date is Touch and
That is
Travel?
going to be on Wednesday, April the 26th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the community center. There'll be our city vehicles and staff there, and some emergency vehicles from Cherokee County. Hope for bigger and better last year. We had a great turnout last year. We really enjoyed it, so we're looking forward to it again this year.
But that's, again, through our Georgia Municipal Association, throughout the state, all cities celebrate this Georgia Cities Week and do different things. And this is something we've had a lot of good luck in doing, so.
And we did put in a request with Misty Martin for their trailer to be here with all the hands-on demonstrations, different skills.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move to approve the minutes. You have the minutes from the work session of February the 2nd and the council meeting of February the 9th.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion made. Vicky, Scott? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Did you do the minutes? You missed the meeting. You did
Yeah, Eric did them, and then I went back over them and.
fix them? Yeah, okay.
She emailed them.
Good, okay.
I don't get on too many about that little detail, but it's a part of our history.
Yes.
I so enjoy going back and looking at the old minutes and some of the details. It gives you a great.
Well, you do.
Be where it is today.
Well, you do a good job. Tonight, we don't have any old business to deal with, so we'll move to our first item of new business, and that is consider first reading of a revised zoning ordinance. We amended we actually had a public hearing at 6 o'clock, opened that up for discussion. So at this point, you want to add to it, Eric, or Chris? We're asking the council has reviewed the changes in the zoning ordinance, and we shared that at the earlier meeting. And at this point, it's a change in ordinance, so we have to have 2 readings. And so tonight would be the first reading to approve the proposed zoning amendment.
If you want to go ahead and put on the record the next 2 public hearings, the dates for those, I believe, will be April the 6th and April the 13th, again, both at 6 p.m.
That before a work session? One
One
of
is
those.
part of your work session. The public hearing will just be at the beginning of your work session.
Okay, well, this proposed amendment kind of brings our zoning ordinance more up to date and more better for our city than previously. And so hopefully we'll be able to continue forward on this. But the first thing we have to do is vote on the first reading, and I'll ask for a motion to approve this as the first reading.
Make a motion for this.
Okay, motion by Scott,
Second?
second by Dennis. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. And again, we'll have two more public sessions, but we also will be voting on it in April for the second reading.
Mayor, can I just add to that point? We're going to make all the materials available to anybody that wants to look at them. And I'll also, if people want to reach out to me, my information's on our website. I'm happy to talk or meet or do whatever to go through this stuff. I know it can be a little complicated.
Okay, thank you, Chris. The next item is consider a resolution to close a bank account. This is an account that was put in place for our Downtown Development Authority that we actually pulled back and found out that we had actually not done it correctly by the state. So we actually have removed the DDA, and so there's still a bank account that has to be closed. Any
No, sir.
more comments?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Chris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, by Vicki. I might ask, how much money's in it?
About $10,000.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Next item is a unique item to deal with, and this is for the first time, I think, in the history I've been here, and Karen, is that we are talking about now establishing a city flower, a city tree, and a city bird. So I'm going to talk about the city flower. I'm going to let Vicki have a comment in that.
Okay, well, it all started whenever we were deciding on our Arbor Day and everything, and I started thinking, gee, it would be nice to have a city tree, and it'd be nice to have a city flower, and even a city bird. So I'm making these proposals. I also asked our Ball Ground Garden Club for their input, and they took up a poll with all of their members, and the majority came back with a city flower as our daffodil. It grows wild, and they're just beautiful flowers, so we'll be known as the City of Daffodils. It also kind of ties in with our Gibbs Gardens.
Absolutely.
The different ones, and Gibbs Gardens, of course, is not in our city, but they are still in Ball Ground. So that was one of the proposals.
Okay, you want to go ahead and talk about the
other
tree
ones?
tree and the bird, and we'll just vote on those all
Okay, we'll
together.
just do all three. And then the second one, our city tree, was the garden club came back, and I like this for 2 reasons, is our crepe myrtle, which it starts blooming everybody knows about late spring, early summer, and it will bloom all the way until the fall. And beautiful trees, they're not large trees, but they sure do pop a lot of color. And so the crepe myrtle was recommended by the garden club. And also, the other reason I like this is because Erica told me that this is a GDOT approved tree too, so we could line our roads and everything with them. I think that would be very pretty with that, along with the daffodils. It's gonna be really nice. And then, while we were at our retreat, we were talking about these, the city tree, city flower, and Chris had said, well, we might as well do a city bird also while we're doing it. And so we brought up and we all agreed on the bluebird. There's plenty of them around, they're beautiful birds, and that's what the council had decided on too.
Okay, you were correct about daffodils. I mean, Gibbs Gardens has, what, 20 to 30 million of those, and they have a ball-ground address, so maybe they'll give us some daffodils. What's interesting about the crepe myrtle is we have those as trees downtown. Now, sometimes they're used as more shrubs where you cut them back and but downtown they bloom, and they're big trees that produce shade and produce fall color. So it's a good choice, I think. And the city bird, I think, let me just make a comment. I think we need to get a painting of bluebirds and daffodils and crepe myrtle in one painting we can put here in the city hall. But that's a nice choice. And could I have a motion to approve those three recommended city things?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Chris.
I'll second.
Second by Dennis. Any further comments or?
Now we'll just have a beautiful city, even more prettier.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Everybody's in favor, so nobody's opposed, and that's in all the years of our city, we've never done this before. So it's the first thing in history. All right, we'll move on to item 8G under new business, and that's consider extension of a temporary moratorium on the acceptance of the applications of zoning. Right now, we put a moratorium in place until we got this new zoning ordinance agreed on and voted on. So we did that to go through March. And so because we have not officially voted yet for the full adoption of the new zoning ordinance, we need to extend the moratorium. You have a recommendation? How long?
Until next meeting, April.
Just
April
30 days,
13th.
okay. Okay, so officially, could I have a motion to approve extending the moratorium for 30 days?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Extending the moratorium.
Okay, Vicki, second.
I'll second.
Scott? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's in effect until the 30th, to the 30 days until the next meeting. Okay? So I noticed the agenda does not have you down for a presentation.
We can skip.
I'm afraid your presentation is the most interesting thing that we hear from, so let's just add that we'll have to add that to the agenda now. Eric, your report for the month.
For financials, everybody should have a copy of the written financial report for all accounts. For our fund balances, ending the month, we had general fund at $1,068,000, splost at $180,000, fire, which is a direct pass-through, at $507,000. Here any day now, we'll get the bill from Cherokee County and pay that. Utilities at $972,000 for a combined total of $2.7 million cash on hand. We still have $13,973 in ARP funds that'll be spent out on the Pocket Park upgrades, and that's going to go pretty quickly. The shade sails and poles arrived today. We got 48 tons of slate dust that arrives tomorrow, and still waiting on Georgia Power to get the underground utility relocate or location done correctly. They marked one area, and we know there's a line in another area, so we're not going to dig until they get it marked. For February's revenue and expenses, the general fund had a revenue of $228,000 against expenses of $276,000. Splost had revenue of $81,000 with expenditures of $101,000. And utilities revenue of $175,000 against expenses of $142,000. On the administrative side of the house, the draft budget's been delivered to the mayor. We have our trademark attorney reviewing the catchphrase of historic past, bright future as a new city slogan and catchphrase. We've been notified
Put your initials on it.
last week that Humana, our employee health provider, is going to be dropping out of the individual life or health insurance market. So we'll have to plan for that next year. Humana has always been our best priced and best covering options that we've had in recent years. So that's something we put extra dollars in our contingency line in the proposed budget because we really don't know what impact this is going to have. We always knew with Humana 10 to 12% was going to be our increase, but now we really don't know. Tuesday at 1:30, Donna and I will be attending a initial lost assessment committee meeting with the county. The first meeting will be with managers and finance directors. Following that, we'll bring in the council chairs of the finance departments or finance committees, and just exploring a ballot referendum question of local option sales tax possible in Cherokee County. For you, those of you not familiar with it, it's a 1 penny additional sales tax that goes directly to rollback property taxes. So for every penny collected, property tax gets rolled back. For city residents, they kind of get a double benefit of that because their city tax rolls back and their county property tax rolls back as well. So right now it's just an exploratory, but it's we're one of only, I think, 3 counties in the state, 5? I think it was 5. Counties in the state that does not have this.
Okay.
So it helps keep property taxes lower. So it's not a new revenue source, it's a change in revenue source. Capital projects, the police station, a project that never ends. You know, they're moved in, it's finishing up these little items, and we're not letting go of their retainage money until they're done. But we're getting closer. Hopefully, once we wrap up our staff meeting next week with them, we think we'll be able to set a date in May for a ribbon cutting and an open house. On Old Dawsonville Road, the Always Stop is programmed to go in Wednesday. So a week from yesterday. The message board from the marshal's office is out there. Everybody that lives in that area knows we've had the flashing light up for the stop ahead. So next Wednesday, the stop ahead sign will actually get mounted to that flashing pole, and then the stop signs will go up. And we are really hoping that Friday, the striping crew shows up. So the road will get striped. They can do the balk lines at the same time based on the placement of signs. Gruver Street stormwater, they have got the asphalt section put in there that was out last month. Utility locates are complete, so they'll probably be digging next week there in front of the metal building at the far end of the picture and starting to replace the underground storm drain in that area. Roundabout, just kind of tie into the next one, which is the 372 spur and the Ball Ground bypass. Money is changing daily. Inflation is killing us. Preliminary engineering at $3 million. We have been allocated those funds from the Atlanta Regional Commission to get the preliminary engineering started. Mitigation, they're now anticipating at $1.7 million. Right-of-way acquisition at $5.4 million. We just submitted the grant yesterday with Mr. Nelson's contact in Senator Warnock's office, requesting that $5.4 million so that we can get the right-of-way purchased.
And she's aware of it. I've already contacted her.
The construction estimate now for the bypass is $22.6 million for a total project of $35.7 million. 6 months ago, the estimate was $28.5 million. So these costs are going up quicker than we're finding money. We spoke with a mitigation attorney in Charleston last night. She's putting us in contact with some folks in Atlanta, but we believe there may be an opportunity to put some self-imposed restrictions on our Roberts Lake green space to ensure there is never any development there, that nothing ever happens along the stream banks, and be able to swap those mitigation credits to offset the 1.7 million on here. So instead of DOT or the state having to go to a land bank and paying the 1.7 million to get credits somewhere in Georgia, it's possible we could provide them right here. And that's been the intent of that property anyway, is just perpetual green space. Loading and unloading zone downtown, the site assessment's complete. We should have the design in 6 to 8 weeks. We have the verbal railroad consent, and they will not provide written consent to allow construction until they have the stamped drawings. Sidewalk construction extension downtown. This is across that section of rail on Valley Street where there is nothing. The cost estimate we anticipate having Monday from Rapid Track. It is the only company that Patriot Rail will allow to do the work in that area, which always means a higher price if you only have one company you can use. The drawings have been ordered again through Rapid Track. We're waiting on a timeline for them to be presented. Again, we have a verbal commitment from the railroad once they have the drawings in hand. Only thing we're unsure about is they will be submitting the first drawings with rubber bumpers along the track instead of concrete panels, which will greatly reduce the cost. The roadway crossing itself is rubber bumpers, so it makes sense to extend it as rubber bumper, but we won't know until they get the drawings. Exciting news of the week, the murals from Lamar Dodd School of Art. Everything is in place. They will be here on March 24th. They will paint Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we will have 2 murals downtown. We'll have, well, actually, 2, and I guess you can call that one at the bottom a quarter. But the big one on the building that's now the dentistry office, and then they'll be doing the smaller one at the lower left corner. And then the building that houses Perched and Barrel House Coffee will have the Coca-Cola mural going on that. Water and sewer. With the draft budget, we will be bringing forth proposed rate changes this year. We've discussed before that our wholesale purchase rates are going up on what we're having to buy water for to resell. Also our electrical costs, and it seems like every cost we have has gone through the roof. Sanitation, we'll be asking for $1 per month increase. Recycle on a 50-cent per month increase. And then water and sewer both at a 50 cents per 1,000 gallon increase. On sewer, we have a direct payout of $4.65 per 1,000 gallons. That's what we pay out directly for treatment. That leaves $1.35 on every 1,000 gallons to operate the system, which isn't making ends meet. The problems we've had at Sage Hill, you see the yellow down there on the side of the photo. That's Joey Ingram's leg and boot at the bottom of that sewer wet well. But they finally discovered the problem is that flange. They had to get that vacuumed out and done, but that flange, you can see how beat up it is. But again, in the water sewer business, by the time we're done, we'll have $10,000 in getting this repaired and functioning properly. Next item is really a work session item, but I wanted to bring it to council tonight because it is a safety concern. Two property owners have brought this to our attention, and it is a sinkhole that's developing in a private front yard. They would like the city, of course, to repair it. The estimated repairs are an estimated $30,000. What we have is this. At the end of Cherokee Village Court, if you see the blue line running right through here, that's a stream. And in the, I guess it was the late 80s, mid to late 80s.
Late 80s.
That this was built. When this was originally built, this was just an open stream. And this driveway and this driveway both just had culvert pipes under the driveways. At some point, and like I said, this was an open stream. There is a catch basin here in the cul-de-sac, and there used to be a pipe that ran down to the stream and discharged into the stream right here. At some point in this construction, whether the first homeowners there hired them or whether a builder hired them, someone came in and piped this entire stream and closed it so they didn't have an open stream. They didn't like the open stream in their front yard. So when they did that, this pipe that used to just tie into the stream tied into that pipe. No box, no anything else. So we videoed this line. The pipe is deteriorated. It was metal pipe. It has no bottom left in it. The sections of pipe do not touch. And so these sinkholes are beginning to develop. It's on private property. It's not anything legally that we can do. Met with the city attorney. I spoke with both property owners and saying the only way the city can really get involved in this is if they want to dedicate a permanent easement through their yards in this location and deed that, provide that easement to the city. If they wanted to do that, the next step for the city would have to be to get with EPD and ask EPD, are you going to allow us to continue to pipe this stream? Do we come in and repipe it? Or do we go back to what it used to be, take the pipe out, rip wrap the stream? There's really not much cost difference in the two projects. They're both going to run right around $30,000. But just kind of wanted to get some guidance from mayor and council this evening. Do we go back with a hard no, or do we start talking about easements and whatnot in that area?
Is this not an EPA violation, whoever piped it?
I wouldn't know from the mid-'80s. I don't know what the rules were at that time. I would think so, but I don't know.
That's not the original owners then either, right?
No,
Or
ma'am.
is it? Okay.
But it's definitely not city pipe.
It is not city pipe, and it's not city property. And whoever did it tied in, and they're using, they have a little bit of the argument. They're saying, well, the city stormwater from the street comes in here. Well, it does, but it went into an open stream as was originally designed.
So the person that did the piping kind of tore out what the city had going into the stream, so
And that person is deceased, so we can't get any information from them.
that's a hard call. I mean, it's kind of like the person that owned it originally created an issue, and the people bought it, unfortunately, and didn't know it was there, but now.
And that's what I'd encourage y'all to do, and I don't know if this requires a vote of any kind. I just ask you to think about it and email me in the next day or two and just let me know your thoughts, and if I have a consensus to go one way or the other, that's the way I'll go. If we just tell them, figure it out, or start talking about easements. If we start talking about easements, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process anyway, because it's going to take time to get the legal easements. And we wouldn't, to be honest, we wouldn't even go that route, I'm sorry. If they consent to do the legal easements, the next step I would go is to EPD before getting an easement and say, what do you want here? Because if they come back to your point and saying, well, we're going to give somebody a fine for $100,000, we don't want that easement. I mean, it's
How deep is the sinkhole right now?
right now about right close to 5 feet.
And
But
how
if
close
it's-
to the house? Is
It's,
it a good distance? 'Cause
if
those
we
are
go
pretty
to
good-sized
this
lots
one-
back there.
I believe that sinkhole's going to be right about in here, and so the house is up here.
And if it's not corrected, who's to say that another one's gonna be, right?
Oh,
Another sinkhole.
they will.
So something's gonna have to be done.
Right. Something's going to have to be done. It's whether we do it or they do it, and what is done. Is it opened back up and made a free-flowing stream?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Mother Nature wants to return this to an open stream.
Right.
She's trying.
Mother Nature had never intended this to be piped, and she's fighting back. If you touch it, you own it. You own all of it. So if you don't touch it, you're okay. But the minute you say, you put your finger on it, it's your problem from beginning to end.
Wow.
Eric, if the homeowner were to do it themselves, hire a contractor, got bids for it, do you know can they do that, or have they done that, or to seek that out before, or do they just come directly to us?
Technically, this isn't anything that would even come to us in the state that it's in right now. This is, as it sits right now with this pipe, it is considered a 90-degree crossing. A 90-degree crossing, even like when we did Old Dawsonville, you don't have to get with EPD and get an approval to repair an existing 90-degree crossing.
And then there's still a chance that you could be fined also by the EPD.
You know, that's always a chance.
Particularly for the city.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's,
Been there, done that.
we wouldn't accept an easement or touch it without EPD involvement and blessing ahead of time. So, think about it, call if you have any more questions, or if you want to go see it, and we'll take a look at it, but
Is there a benefit to us having the easement?
no, ma'am.
Okay.
Are they
I couldn't
It's-
think of a
are they
benefit.
It's a
The
liability.
voters that live there?
Right, okay.
So, but the only thing is here, we have a known dangerous situation,
The register is.
so,
Wouldn't their homeowner's insurance cover it? I mean,
No, we don't.
no, we don't,
We don't have any dangerous situation.
you're right.
but
We have
wouldn't
no
their
danger.
homeowner's insurance
I
cover the
have-
repair of?
I have no idea.
I mean, I know in Florida they do. They cover
Right.
the repair of sinkholes, so
But-
under your homeowner's insurance.
But just want to make you aware, this is out there and brewing.
I think that was actually, that part of that subdivision was built later. I think it was built in the early 90s. The original one was in the late 80s.
It started Cherokee Village Drive, and it ended and there was a cul-de-sac,
Uh-huh.
3 houses in it. And then Garland obtained more property and started made it all the way to Cherokee moved down there, Village Court.
I think that
That was in the early 90s.
early 90s, I think so, yeah.
Going on Parks, Roberts Lake Trail, Phase 2 of the trail extension, the heavy clearing is complete. We meet with the Eagle Scout team on Monday, and we'll get them started with finish work and trail markings. Trail mulching, we keep trying, but the mulch pile is still too wet. It's got to dry out some where we can get it moving. Still targeting a trail opening downtown in August of '23. This area right here, that's where the trail has been, the heavy clearing's been done. It's a lot more open than what this picture looks like. It's walkable now. Just need to get the roots out and trimmed back. This is the side going up the mountain. And we did a tour. I'm not sure who the lady is riding in the side-by-side right there, but we got in and looked at it. Anybody that wants to schedule a ride in there, get with me. Love to take that back in and show the area there.
Or hike.
Or hike.
I went up there today and they were clearing, I parked right at the Sonic Lodge and did the hike up. And I hiked pretty fast, so it was about 30 minutes in, 30 minutes back. And they've done a great job up there cleaning. He was up there working today.
Good deal.
Down towards the old trailhead, clearing all that out.
Good deal.
It looks good.
Did you walk up the street?
Yeah, I wanted to see.
That new
Chris
street?
told me it was doable, but a little steep, but it was very good.
Yeah, my heart rate went up at 35 times walking up it.
Over the top and back in there, it's very quiet. I saw that big patch where the daffodils were not bloomed, but they were in there.
Right.
City flower.
That's right.
Ball field improvements, new anchors and bases are installed on Field 1. We're waiting on additional work on Field 2 before installing them there. We need to be reworking the infield and the lip removal. We're going to start restricting the field lighting access. We're going to start locking the boxes to where free use of lights isn't available at night. They'll have to actually lease the field. We have a problem with field lights being left on again. We're waiting on a 80-foot boom lift. It's going to be delivered the week of March 20th. And we have some electrical problems on Field 2 that they need that lift to get up and resolve. We'll then hold on to that lift because the weekly rental rate is a whole lot better than the daily. So we'll hold on to it, and it's the same lift we'll use for doing the mural installation. They also have 3 of the students who have licenses to operate the articulating lifts. So we've already run them by our rental company, and they're good to go on that. We'll talk about the lip on the softball field. This is the issue we're talking about removing, and it's hard to see, but this area out here is actually about 8 inches lower than this area right here. So they're going to have to come in and remove all this, cut it back, and kind of regrade. So the fields are becoming pretty high maintenance. Everybody should have a written report from the chief. As we talked at the work session, we have an outside consultant that's been doing the external review of the department. I have a briefing with him next Tuesday, and following that meeting, we'll be scheduling the time for Chief Flynn to meet with the Public Safety Committee and go forth from there. The PD did participate this month in Career Day at Ball Ground STEM. Now, planning and zoning, Chris has been burning the candle at both ends, getting planning and zoning ready. Also, the short-term work program to come before mayor and council, and then really trying to focus on completion of the comprehensive plan update that's moving along pretty quickly. So a lot of different things going on right now. Any questions for mayor's staff? Yes, sir.
Going back to some of your earlier comments, back several slides, can you explain to the audience what the Pocket Park is?
Sure. The Pocket Park is the area right next to the Burger Bus downtown. A lot of people have been under the misconception that that's the Burger Bus property. That's not. That's city property. It's city park. So there's been a committee established to come up with a design to kind of revitalize that park, make it a more attractive place to be. They're going to have some of the sail sunshades, there you go. Sunshades on big poles that'll be over there with nicer picnic tables and the Adirondack chairs and the lights that you hang, can't remember what they're
Cafe
called, but the
lights.
cafe lights that'll hang from the bottom of that thing and really just brighten that park up. There'll be some new plantings in there and whatnot. Like I said, the slate dust will be here tomorrow. The shade sales came in today, and hopefully we'll have things to a point. Public Works is set to go out there Monday, remove the 2 crepe myrtles that are coming out. Sorry, first thing we're gonna do is get rid of 2 of our new city trees. They'll be spraying the grass areas for ground kill to be prepping that for the slate dust to go down. They'll be taking the Adirondack chairs over to Public Works and pressure washing them and getting those ready. As soon as the lighting is done, the pad that we're gonna need is gonna need to be about 40 inches deep to support each of those poles. So we'll be doing a lot of digging and making a mess beforehand, then getting the concrete truck in there, filling those, because they're sails. They're gonna catch a lot of wind, so they gotta have a lot of ballast underground.
Will you guys be closing the food court? Still call it an outdoor food court. Will y'all be closing that down while it's under construction?
As soon as we start digging holes, we'll close it down. The things like the pressure washing and the things like that, they can do. That's why David chose Monday, because most things downtown are closed. So they'll do a lot of work in there Monday, but when we're ready to start digging, we'll cordon it off and put up construction signs and use our metal barricades to outline it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Eric, are the city trees being removed? Are they going to be placed somewhere else?
It depends where the electrical lines run. If the electrical line goes under it where we have to take them out in little pieces instead of just digging, because we don't know if that electrical line is under the tree, and we don't want to dig in and scoop, so we'll make a final determination once they've located where the underground power is.
Hopefully we can save them.
Because they're a big item to transplant. I mean, that's a...
Oh, we've got a backhoe.
Got a backhoe, but the problem is digging, you're gonna break up the stems. And I don't know, if they could be cut back to 2-3 feet tall and dug out, it's probably manageable. But if they have to be left 6-7 feet tall, we're gonna tear them up trying to dig around them.
Well,
We'll do the best we can.
okay, they can be cut back and sprout again. Okay. Thank you, Eric. You mentioned our planning retreat. I just wanted to say that we've been through a lot of those, haven't we, Lee? I thought it was a very good session. We did it for a day and a half, and I was very impressed with what I heard from the council and the things we covered. So we did planning. That's exactly what we're there for. So we actually did planning and things that will benefit the city going forward. Now, Scott just got back from training, newly elected officials training, and Annette Homiller, who is our new council member, she's out of town. But they both were there in Athens, and did you enjoy your...
I found that to be very rewarding. Gives you a very high level of things that you don't think about, and to learn from human resources to public works to ethics, all kinds of things were done over a 3-day period. One thing I did learn, there was about 125 of us in there. There's mayors, new city council members, and how proud I am of the city of Ball Ground. A lot of small towns, these are cities from all over, from Savannah to St. Mary's to Augusta, and little populations of 200. But the things that I heard in those 3 days from those little cities, I said, man, Ball Ground's got it together. I said, a lot of people paid us a lot of respect. They love Ball Ground, they love what we do, but the council working together is, I've been coming to council meetings 20-some years, never seen our council on the 6 o'clock news with fighting and everything, and the things that were described.
Yeah, that's Clayton County.
I was just like, I'm very proud of the city of Ball Ground and the work that Eric does out there and our city works people and the police department. There was just a lot of people that shared that wasn't happening in their cities and they wished it was. So, great job to the city and our citizens and what we offer.
Well, that's something you'll experience as new elected officials, as the training that we do throughout cities in the state is that very quickly you realize, oh my gosh, we're way ahead of some of the small cities, particularly in South Georgia. It's almost a different world. So, but it's important that things change constantly. You can't just take a course and then say, well, I've done it now. 3 or 4 years later, it's different. Things change, and so that's the ongoing. Lee did a lot of training, and it's very important that we all stay involved in going to school. That's what it really is. But again, I'm just that first session covers everything at a large scale. Now you get to going forward dwell on more details. But, one other thing I wanted to say concerns something the council met with last year concerning trucks coming through downtown Ball Ground with chickens on them. The trucks seem now to be covered, as they said, but I was behind one of the day and I couldn't see for the feathers flying out of the back. So
Was it covered?
the back wasn't. So we may have to bring that up too. But I just I'm glad they actually did what they said they were going to do to cover the sides of the truck. So, Scott, do you want to add anything else tonight? Vicki?
I'd like to wish everybody a happy Easter coming up.
Dennis?
And I wish everybody a happy Easter too, and also thank you for your prayers during my surgery and recovery. I felt them. I'm doing great. Looking forward to going back to work. Thank you.
Just like
Chris?
to thank everybody for coming this evening.
All right, Attorney
I've said enough.
Darrell. Karen, you want to add anything?
I'm like Scott, I've always said, how many years ago I've been going to training and always proud of my council members. It's always good to go to these training sessions and be able to brag about your mayor and council. And as he said, not have one that bickers and fusses all the time. And to have, we've always had a good bunch to go to training. They don't just go to the newly elected officials. Training is required. And after that, it's just kind of icing on the cake. And we've always had council members that would go and take advantage of that training. And it is very beneficial as opposed to some, I guess they go to that one and they think they know everything, and I guess they're the ones that don't get along. And so, but all of us here, staff and everybody, we all get along and just one big family, and it's a great place.
There are how many cities in GMA? 500 something? You may not, the council may not know this, but several years ago, Karen was the president of all the city clerks, and with very she had go.
Get that. Could you try again?
Shut up. But anyway, she represented Ball Ground across the state very well, and so a lot of experience. Yes. Okay. Well, let's call it an adjournment of this meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Second. Everybody against it? Everybody for it?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Thank you for attending our meeting. We